I think I'll start with these. So these are not some. This is not something I set out to buy. I wasn't really that familiar with its existence. Only vaguely knew about them. But basically, I purchased some Pokemon cards, a Pokemon card lot of various Pokemon cards from various sets from somebody on Vinted. Got a good price. Made an offer. They accepted it. That was good. And they threw in some of these. I'm not even 100% sure how to pronounce it. Eth Baby, because at first I thought I was reading it as Elf Baby, but they're EIF. So is that Eth Baby? How you pronounce it? Now, my understanding from a bit of research is these are made in China, and they are completely unofficial Pokemon products. So this franchise, however you pronounce it, Eth Baby, has made some cards, and they're using the Pokemon franchise without Nintendo's permission. I'm surprised Nintendo haven't shut them down. I've sort of seen these a little bit on eBay, just very vaguely here and there. They sort of go sometimes for like 99p, sometimes a little bit more. Apparently, out of all the fates, these are quite popular. People do like these, and I can see why. So the first thing that stands out about them, so these are the backs of them, is that, I mean, they look nothing like Pokemon cards. They haven't tried to copy the design, and it's the same on the front. They're nothing like the Pokemon trading card game cards anyway. They're character cards really. Yeah, normally the fake Pokemon cards that try to copy the trading card game style. So these are doing their own thing, as you can see. Some of them have got shiny bits, and yeah, I can see why they're popular. I really like how the cards really thick. I feel like these would be nice things to display. They are made with, you can probably hear the noise they kind of make on each other. This is thick card. I've never seen trading cards with such thick card stock in my life. Yeah, so I mean, you can see various Pokemon. I like the way they've put the Pokemon in the Game Boy style image. That's pretty good. I like the backs, the logo and the way they've done it. Very good. You can see they've got like elements going around there. So yeah, you can buy packets of these. I was looking online. Yeah, as I say, I believe they're made in China, but you can quite easily get them on eBay in lots of different places. So that one's also got the Pokemon inside, like a Game Boy style image. And we've got this one, almost looks more like it's based on the artwork from the anime. There's a good one there. And who have we got here? This one's got a really Cyclizer's got a really interesting graphic style. They've got very different artwork styles. Yeah, and interesting background. Yeah, they've done them with quite a attractive design, to be honest. They've got a really smooth finish on the front. So yeah, I can see why these are popular. Completely fake, completely unofficial. Very naughty of this company to use the Pokemon license without permission and sell these. I don't know how Nintendo haven't shut them down, but apparently they haven't. Because you know what Nintendo especially is usually like with these things, but they're getting away with it apparently, yeah, because these are quite popular and you can get them around. So this is a series of audio books on cassette. I spotted this in a charity shop, Salvation Army in Swindon, and thought, oh, that's interesting. Now, I don't have currently any means to play cassettes. I've had cassette players in the past and things like that, but I don't currently have any working ones, so I couldn't actually listen to these as audio books, but I thought it was a nice collectible to have anyway. And I asked them how much I wanted for it. I said no price. They literally only wanted 20p, so I thought fair enough. Yeah, so what this is first of all, just in case you don't know, Richard Bachman was a pen name used by Stephen King. So these are Stephen King stories under his pen name. And there's a picture of a young Stephen King. In fact, there's a picture on all of them. The cases are in good condition. I don't know, as I say, whether they play or not because I can't test it out for the moment, but to be honest, they look in very good condition. And the stories themselves, so this contains the Regulators. Now, if you've never read the Regulators and you like Stephen King, I will highly recommend it. It's over quite a few cassettes. I guess they're fairly long stories, read by somebody called Kate Milligan. The thing is, if you want to read Regulators, highly recommend you read Desperation first. You can read the Regulators as it is, but I think in many ways you'll get more out of it by reading Desperation first, because basically the Regulators is a twin novel to Desperation. Like the Regulators is like an alternative universe of what happens in Desperation. It's a really good concept. I really like the stories. I especially like the Regulators, though Desperation was good as well. So yeah, I highly recommend reading those if you are a Stephen King fan, or listening to the audiobook, cassette or otherwise. This is an Osborne puzzle adventure. So I wonder if this looks familiar to you. Maybe you read these as well. So sometimes there's things that you can only remember so much, and sometimes you've forgotten it until you see it, if you see what I mean. So I saw this in a charity shop and was like, oh yeah, I completely forgotten about these, but yeah, I like these. As a child, I read all the Choose Your Own Adventure books I could find, all the gaming books, I could find. I really like those, and I really like them to this day. This is the Osborne Puzzle Adventures, and so yeah, there is a story, there is a narrative, but throughout the pages there would be things to work out and solve. So it's that sort of game book style, and they were really good, and they had really sort of striking images. So this one is called The Emerald Conspiracy. I probably read this one because I read many of this kind of thing. Don't know if I necessarily read all of them, but I certainly did read many of them. They got the answers at the back. So yeah, they were good little things. So it's interesting to see this again. Also, this was written by Mark Fowler, who you may remember from EastEnders, so that's interesting. And then something else. Point hover, yes. I'm trying to collect all the point hover I can find. I used to have these as a child. I still have a few surviving, but the ones that haven't, I'm trying to get again. Now, I spotted in a charity shop Point Hover The Babysitter by R.L. Stine. So yeah, I remember The Babysitter. Now, I read this one as a teenager. These kind of aimed more at teenagers really, rather than younger children. And I read this one, and I vaguely remember parts of it as I'm reading it. I'm rereading it. I'm going to do a little review at the end of it. I'm up to there so far, so I haven't got long to go. I was looking in the back, and it said there's other babysitter books in the series, so I'm going to try and get them because I don't ever remember reading them. I think I only ever saw one. Now, I only ever read one actually, this one. So I couldn't really confirm whether this was the idea of these babysitter stories from R.L. Stine, but there used to be this series of books, very, very popular, called The Babysitter Club. I think they came out in the early 90s, maybe late 80s. I think actually late 80s, because this book came out in like 92 or something. Oh no, copyright 1989 actually, that looks like. Yeah. So what I was wondering is if this was like a take on the Babysitter series. That was the idea, but like a horror version, I wonder if that was what R.L. Stine was sort of doing, almost spoofing the babysitter stories that were so popular, but giving it a horror twist. So I've been enjoying reading through this again, and I'm quite a bit away through. And now I also managed to get an Agatha Christie book, again very cheap. I think 50p this one. So this is the classic. Well, all of Agatha Christie's a classic really, but maybe one of my favourites, and then there were none. This though I like is actually based on the film version, because you can see the various actors in their roles there. So that's a nice version to have, and I wanted to read this again. I don't actually own a copy of it, so that'd be enjoyable to read again. And then one more is an early book by Peter James. So yeah, I'm working my way through all the Peter James books. Most of what he's written are parts of his Detective Grace series. Just finished one not that long ago actually. I hope to put a review up for soon. But he has done a few other books on the side. He's sort of, to be honest, he's a really good horror writer, and he's done a few horror-y books. I would say more ghost and not like extreme horror or anything like that, but great, kind of like spooky atmosphere books. He's been good at that. And I think this one leads a bit more into that. And also it's one of his early ones as well. I think this one might be the most earliest book I would have read from him, because this one is 1989. This is quite a bit before his Detective Grace series. So I think it leads more into the horror rather than the crime, or maybe a little bit of both. But yeah, it looks interesting, and I look forward to reading that. It's one I've not read. Very, very good author. If you like crime and horror, I would say Peter James, very, very good.